Hello, fabulous people. This is the Together podcast, and this is the place where Cherise and I come together to help you get it together for your everyday business life. So we hope you enjoy.
Okay, so what shall we talk about tonight?
Can we talk about how to support our peers and mentees and about maybe coaching, like maybe you can help me with the words, but like assertive coaching, aggressive coaching, forward thinking coaching.
Okay, tell me more. Tell me what's bringing it up for you.
Let me tell you what that means to me.
Word. Yeah.
So for me, what I realized was people would kind of make me feel bad for giving away too much, right? And it was always some confusion there with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, don't be giving away too much, and and I'm just like,
it didn't feel good. I've heard that too.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to be that person.
Yeah. It didn't feel good at all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, what's too much? And then, I just started having my own revelations with, well, people are always going to need help. And this is probably part of the coaching process. Because I remember going through some coaching where I'm like, is that it? You reel me in and this is it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, have y'all ever seen the promotions for a movie and they put like all of the action scenes in the commercial? And so when you get to the movie, you watching it like, wait a minute, I saw that on the commercial. Y'all ain't got nothing else?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and as of recent, like I settled into feeling good about, how much I would give away early on, because I realized like, well, they need the information. If they pay me, I'm gonna give them what I got. I'm gonna give them what I know. Because another revelation for me too, Natalie, was, these are people that I am helping to elevate to partner with me.
Mm-hmm.
Not people to leave stuck when they leave me.
Yeah.
Give them as much as I can. And, you have multiple coaches. Like, who else can I refer them to that could help them with something else? Because I don't have everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, in my realm of business, in my ecosystem, I want to give you what you need so that we could get on the same level and partner, collaborate, and make money together.
Yeah.
We need each other. We are a community. We are our ecosystem.
Yeah.
So then when you're equipped to be my partner, then we can forever work together, because
we can.
We know each other. We know how we move. We know how we operate. We know our integrity. And this is the ecosystem.
So I think, this is such a good topic, because it's bigger than giving away free information or not. And I think it goes to, who do you want to be as a person in this world? And then who do you want to be as a coach, as an entrepreneur in this world? And I think it goes back to, I don't know if y'all remember, but about 20 years ago, in the Southern church world, we kept saying poverty mindset. They got a poverty mindset. And it was such a buzzword. And now, as I'm older and I'm wiser, and it's no longer kind of the buzzword that it used to be back then. But I do think that I don't want to give them too much information, because they need to buy it from me. I think does go to a poverty mindset, essentially. And so really, I think you have to sit down and decide who you want to be in this world and what do you stand for. And so I know there were a couple of times in my life where I wanted information and somebody wouldn't give it to me, and that felt horrible, because how can I get to that next level without this information? And so that's one of the things that I never want to do. I want to make sure that people are getting information from me to take away. What I have learned from that and taking that stance is that people will come back when they get the money and pay you. And they will actually say something to the effect of, well, I should have been done paying you, or something like that. And I think those are the people that I want to work with.
Yep.
I think if you will feel like, and this is another thing about like kind of karma, when you need a piece of information and you need a breakthrough to get to that next level, you want it freely given to you. So can we please make sure we're freely given to others? Because I'm telling you, I personally have had trying to think of like it should be okay if I said this out loud or not. So I don't need to use a name. But I knew this therapist. We used to work together, but then I quit that job and started my practice and everything. And then years later, she came to find me and was like, "Hey, help me get my practice started." And I just, started helping her because we used to work together. Like, you're my girl. We was back in the trenches together.
Yeah.
So I gave her all of this information. And then like one day she called me and she was like, "I'm gonna pay you this time." Because I really should have been paying you. And I'm like, "Girl, you ain't gotta pay me because we came up together." Like, and she was like, "Nope, it's time for me to start paying you, and I want to start paying you." And I think those are the people that you wanna have in your life. I also think there's a blessing that kind of comes on you when you kind of give freely. And so I'll say specifically, and this is a little bit different, but I think the tone of it is the same. Is I remember I had a couple that I was working with, and something happened with them financially in the middle of us working together. And I felt like they were making good progress in therapy and they were showing up. They were like, "Look, we gotta like tighten up, cut all the expenses. We can't do therapy anymore." And I was like, "You know what? Let me see you guys for free because we're making good work and I want you guys to make the progress and just don't worry about the money. Let's finish it out." And so I did that. And then when the pandemic happened, one of the people who leased from me couldn't pay their rent because their business was all touch. That couple came back and gave me that money. They were like, "Hey, we owe you. We never paid you. We know the pandemic is happening. We don't know what's going on. Here's the money." And the amount of money was the exact amount that they got to pay rent that month. And so it was so like, even when I think of it now, like, the provision. And so I understand because I've heard some of the people say people don't value free. And I've heard you make sure you get your money and don't give them too much. And that's just not the way I want to operate in business. And so I think I want everybody to think about how you want to operate in business. Like, how do you want to be in this world? Because I want it to be more than, well, this coach told me this, so I'm going to do this. Like, I need it to be, I want you to sit down and really think about your character and how you want to show up for people.
Yeah.
And so I think also, who do you want to actually coach? And so I like the people, and I really thought about, okay, my coaching program and and I don't mind giving any of the information out for free. But I also know that just giving you the information doesn't mean you're going to be able to execute.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
That's why you got to know what information to give as well.
That's true. That's true. And so I want the people who actually have the information. They've probably bought as many programs as I have. And for whatever reason, they can't execute and they don't know why they can't execute. And I want to help them figure that out so that they can execute and then really break through with that. And I think there are certain times in life that somebody can give you the recipe and you still won't be able to do it for whatever reason. And so I remember specifically my aunt's biscuits. We all had the recipe. I could not reproduce those things for the life of me. I could not reproduce those. So my aunt has passed away. And so one like fall, October day, I drove up to my cousin's house, my aunt's daughter. You're going to have to show me step by step by step how to do these biscuits so they'll turn out. And she did, and it was easy. But I will say, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, y'all didn't break it like that down in the recipe. And because there are just little nuances to things that sometimes you just won't translate over to black and white writing. And so that's really good. So you were using the term aggressive marketing or aggressive coaching, assertive coaching, and so it sounds like you've heard a lot of people say what that you don't need to be doing that, or you being too aggressive, or what.
Well, no, I mean it in terms of what I decided to do. For my people, because what was happening for me, I was seeking so much information. I was so hungry. I'm always hungry, but I had been in those past, 10 years for sure. I've been going in,
you have. I can personally attest that she has been going in as long as I've known you, and I don't even know how long that's been at this point. But you're always seeking more knowledge.
Yes. So I come to realize like the level of accountability that I feel like I was paying for, I don't feel like I was getting.
Yeah.
Because, most people who are paying you for information, they're busy people. They have businesses that they have the mindset to up level and scale, right? And if you may be, okay, so piggying back, most people are giving people the information that they think they need instead of
listening to what they really need.
Instead of surveying people, instead of collecting data and figuring out what the people need. And you have to be a different type of coach in order to do that. You have to be, I don't like the word humble, but a humble coach. Help me with another word. I don't like the word humble at all. But
why aren't you liking the word humble for that? Humble feels what?
I just don't like the word humble because humble is lowly for me. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's a very lowly word. We have been taught that, be humble, but you ain't got to be humble.
Would sensitive work? What better sensitive? A sensitive coach, like I'm sensitive to the needs of my people. I'm sensitive to their voices. I'm sensitive to their desires.
Yes, there we go. I like it. There we go. So, so I'm trying to get this call out the line. So, which means, okay, so I have to dig deeper based off the coaching that I've received. And I've had some great coaching along the way, but I had to get more conscious and I had to get more intentional because about what I needed. I couldn't be so green. When I was super green, I was ooh.
Yeah.
And it was some bits of information that I could pull, which would be valuable at times. And then it was times where I'm like, this was not worth it. But I couldn't look at it like that because I don't know if I ever told you, but I always said because I quit college and didn't finish, I said, well, I got to pay for my degree in a different way.
Gotcha.
My degrees, my education. So I knew along the way I was just, I was paying along the way with coaching and stuff like that. But what I realized was I'm like, oh, wow, these people are really, a lot of people are doing this for money and not for the heart of it and not to really help the people. Or either they just kind of don't know no better because they have been coached to coach like this and not from the heart. So I knew I was a heart-centered coach. And then I also knew that I started to understand that I needed people to really, truly get this information so that they could grow to the next level and understand these processes of growth and evolution. So with that being said, I realized I needed to start to learn to discern and read my people and not categorize people all in one category. All of these are individuals. And although we may be group coaching, because it started to come to a place where I couldn't one-on-one coach anymore because it was so many people.
Yeah.
And at that point, I wasn't charging enough. I was doing too much one-on-ones and not charging enough. And I had to but within that grouping is beautiful because the camaraderie is great. The group, the people can help each other. The people can bounce off of each other, everything.
Yeah.
But I realized like, oh, okay, I got to read these people. I have to discern for them. I have to think for them in many ways. You know, for example, what happened with us, our call today. To me, that's what you're supposed to be doing. As a supporter, as a partner, as a coach, accountability, you know what I mean? Because if you can, sometimes all you got to do is think for someone, think for them. If you know them well enough, all you got to do is think for them and trigger them so that they can go forward.
And they can go and do it. And that brings up so many things for me. So I think know who you are. And I know I'm an overthinker, and I know even though when I try to get myself as much as I can to do it now, do it better later, that I'll still get myself caught up in, but it ain't right, but it ain't perfect, but I need to do this, and I need to have all these steps in the way. And so it's really great having a partner like you that'll be like, okay, boom, do this. And thank God I have learned enough through coaching to just go do it. Do it. Just accept it. Like, please, accept it. And so I think, knowing that, so I want to tell people to know that and have people around you who will ask you questions and who will say, where are you at and what's going on with this and what's going on with that. And then to take their guidance and just go with it. Just go with it and say, okay, that's what we're going to do, and then do it and do it now, but do it better later. So thank you so much.
That's what we're here for.
It's amazing how you can be moving and not moving at the same time. Moving and not moving at the same time and getting in your own way. So with that. And I think I noticed, so let's give people the 5 to 7 tips on hiring a coach.
Okay, that's good.
All right. My number 1 would be, I had a coach who was really great and I had great breakthroughs with, but I could have had so many more breakthroughs if the accountability was better for me. And so now I know that about myself is I need a coach that's going to stay on me. It's going to be like, okay, wait a minute. Why didn't you get that done? Okay, what's the block? Okay, let's take a minute and figure out what the block is so that you can move forward. And so I think with one of my coaches, I noticed that I couldn't move through the block, but there was no support around me moving through the block. And so that's definitely one of the things that I offer as a coach. And that's one of the things that I want to say. Know yourself. First tip, know yourself and know what type of coach you need. Do you need the one who's just going to give you the blueprint and run and you call them when you need them? Or do you need the coach that's going to be like, wait a minute, you didn't do your homework last week. What's going on? Is there a block? And figure that out. All right. What would you say a number 2 tip is?
I would say a coach that does not mind feedback. Someone who is able to, a coach that's coachable. Because if you are taking on professionals who know who they are and know what they're doing, really experts in their line of work, but they're looking to scale and up level, they are professionals too. This is why I am huge on, when to be a coach, when to be a boss, and when to be a servant, and when to be a student.
Oh, okay.
Because I work with you alpha females. And there's a time when I need to be a servant to you and a time when I need to be a coach to you, and vice versa. I'm okay with that. And we need to be able to bounce off of each other and know how to play our role. And that's why I love you so much, because we work very well with that. And bouncing things off and giving each other advice. It's never a second thought. Like, oh, okay, cool, bet. Like you said, all right, bet. I'm going with that. I'll read that. I'll do that. Okay. You need to be that type of personality or develop that muscle of a coach, so you can learn and as well as really truly be a coach. Because what, it's so many coaches who never won a Super Bowl. So many amazing coaches who never won a championship ring, but they're great coaches.
Yeah.
Because they're listeners, you know, and they're great coaches. They're great listeners. They're great readers. You know, like coaches are a very special type of person. And a lot of people are taking on, you know, getting their licenses and so many different things. And then you really aren't a great coach. So I think I think it would be good to have a session maybe next week and talk about what is a great coach.
Okay.
Really like hone in on helping people understand you might not be a great coach. Like some people may not be great entrepreneurs. Some people may need a job, you know, and that's okay too. Know who you are.
Yeah. And I think we need to write this down. But I think that's a topic too. Like, because fortunately and fortunately, so we're in America and owning your own business is part of the American dream. But I feel like some people are jumping into entrepreneurship and not thinking about all that it takes to really run a business and for it to be profitable and to change it from a side hustle to a business and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say side hustle to working for yourself, and from working for yourself into a business that's profitable and sustainable. And so I hear all these people, I got my side business, so I'm building my business. And it's taxing them. It's taxing them and it's hurting them more than helping them and costing them.
It'll change your freaking life. It'll change your whole trajectory of your life. It'll mess you up.
It will mess you up. And I got to think, my colleague, Elliott and I today, this is her concept. So I want to make sure I'm giving Elliott credit for her concept. But she was talking about, is your business your side piece to your main squeeze? And identifying is your business your side piece to your main squeeze? And what needs to happen if you really wanted to be your main squeeze, the one and only, the main one that's supporting you? And what does that take? And so we were having a conversation about like what parts of our various businesses are we treating like the business versus, the main squeeze versus the side chick. And so it was such a funny conversation, but I think it was a good conversation of, wait a minute, I'm paying all the attention over here and I wanted this to be my side hustle, not my main chick. And so just in prioritizing. Okay. So let's see. My number one was know yourself and what kind of coach you need. Yours was number two for finding a good coach was what?
A coachable coach. It might be another name for that, you know.
A coachable coach.
Okay, a coachable coach.
A coachable coach. All right, real quick, that whole what you just said, knowing to be from a servant to leader to listener to student to all of that sounds like a good little ebook for you to write.
It sure does. I know, girl. It's actually written down as one of my titles, but I didn't think about it being an ebook. So thank you, because I have a ebook accountability project I'm working on, and I needed to name a couple more, and bam, there we go.
Okay, good. I want to say one more. What that also put me in remembrance of is that concept of when you need to push and when you need to receive and allow. Because I think that's huge in business. When do I need to push and make something happen? When do I need to allow this thing to unfold? One of my mentors did this little Instagram post of where she was trying to grow and grow and grow this particular plant, chamomile. Tiffany, I listened to you, girl. Tiffany Davis Henry. Anyway, but so she was saying how she was trying to grow this plant and do all these things. It wouldn't grow. And then turned out it just wasn't the right season. And so she did all of this planting and couldn't figure out why she couldn't get it to grow. Well, really, she just needed to stop, sit back and wait and allow for something to happen. And so that kind of goes with that. When do I be a servant? When do I be a student? When do I do this? You know, when do I just learn, or when do I go out and like really make a push? Okay. All right. One more for finding a coach. Do you like them? Like, do you genuinely like them? You know? Um, oh yeah. Do you genuinely like them? Do you feel like they have your best interest at heart? Mhm.
Okay, so all right. So I feel like, okay, so do you like them? Do you trust them? Is that the same thing? Do you
I think
like
that's important too.
okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I
remember,
think do you
one of
like
the
them? Do
main,
you trust them?
do you
Because you
trust
have
them?
to learn to trust them.
Yeah.
You can like them from a distance and then get to know them and
Mhm.
like them and then
Mhm.
learn to trust them.
Yeah, definitely so. And I'm gonna say one of the things that I know I had to work on, and y'all, I learned this lesson the hard way, is not trusting my business coach slash consultant. And so my first group practice really failed because I didn't listen to my business consultant. They were saying, don't do it that way. You're giving away too much. You're da 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 da. And it's all in like the percentages and the way I was doing stuff. And they were like, I don't think that's a good model. And no, this is the way I want to do it. Had I listened and did it exactly the way she told me to do it, that I would have just saved myself a little bit of heartache.
Yeah.
And
I
so
can agree with
now
that.
I'm really cognizant, or I try to be really cognizant, unless I got some type of block that I ain't figured out. But of trying to be like, okay, this is the person. I'm paying them. They're telling me what to do.
Yeah.
If I trust them, and I should at this point I ain't hiring nobody that I don't trust. And figuring out how you trust them and why to trust them, I think is a good thing. And so I would do a little bit of research, just a little bit of research. When did they start? How long they've been doing this? Are the people who they have testimonials from, not just their two best friends? So not that they couldn't have helped their best friends, because I think me and my best friend, I think like I would give you a testimony, I think you would give me a testimony because we helped each other, but have they helped anybody else? And so doing a little bit of research. But if you've researched them and you know, or you've been following them for a while and you know, okay, this is somebody who is walking their talk and I can trust them, then do what they tell you to do, even though it doesn't feel right or what. And let me talk a little bit more on that. I was watching a TV show about this incubator program down at Georgia Tech. And so they were saying they were getting businesses from small businesses were all over the world were able to come into this like Georgia Tech incubator program, and they would help them get their business up off the ground. And they were saying like, oh, well, which businesses are successful and what are the qualities of a successful business? And they were saying the businesses that listened to us and made changes. And so they were saying if a business came to them and was just like, no, this is what I want to sell and this is how I want to sell it, those businesses didn't do well. It's the businesses that said, okay, this is my idea. What do y'all think? Okay, well, we think you need to sell it like this instead of sell it like that. And when they were in those businesses, they could like hold on to their idea loosely, were the ones that thrived and survived to really be able to listen to the market. Okay, so like them, trust them. It sounds like we actually saying the like tenets of marketing. So like in marketing, they say you want your clients to
know, like, and trust you.
Know you, like you, trust you, believe that you have the solution to their problem, and be ready. That's when your clients will buy from you. And we really just kind of work through that, which is hilarious. So with that, all right, anything else you would add to somebody who's out there looking for a coach and what you want them to do or not do?
I think we for the basics, I think we covered it. Just to not overdo it, I think we're good. And I think more than anything, who are you? Are you a true entrepreneur? Like that deep work on that because it's so trendy. Entrepreneurship is really trendy now. And you have to, it's a different world to be able to thrive in this space for all these years, and I think a lot of people don't have the stick-to-itiveness to make it through.
Yeah, let me talk about that for a minute, because I want to make sure people know this and understand this, because my undergrad is in business. And so in business, this is what we learn, that it takes anywhere from 5 to 7 years to become profitable. Okay. Now, definitely this is old school brick and mortar, but I think it still applies. And so what they said is the first 1 to 3 years, you're just marketing and building your name and getting people to know you, like you, and trust you. And so you'll probably be operating at a debt and in deficit those first 3 years. The second 3 years, you should probably start to be profitable, but because all of your money is probably going back into the business and paying off those debts from the first 3 years, you probably won't feel your money and really start making a profit until the 5th to the 7th year.
Yeah.
And so I've seen so many, specifically restaurants, because restaurants are bad at this. They open up and then they close down in less than a year. Well, baby, everybody didn't even figure out that you was there yet. Or they closed down in 2 years. And I always think, okay, but I know they taught me in business school, you need to be prepared for not to make a profit those first 3 years.
Yeah. But that's not how people see it. That is not, that ain't it.
It's not. And so people are going to have to ride by and ride by and ride by and ride by until they see you and then figure out and go from there. And so I want everybody to know that in business. So if you expect not to make a profit until the 5th year, you're setting yourself up for success because your expectations won't get hurt. Well, I thought I'd be profitable in a year. Even something as simple as writing a book. So what are you expecting and how? So writing the book is the first half. It ain't even first half. I say writing the book is the first 25% of it.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to get it published and out into the marketplace is probably the second 25%. That last 50% is marketing and getting your name out there, and marketing and getting your name out there, and marketing and getting your name out there, and marketing and getting your name out there. And so I talk to people and they like, yeah, my book is going to be a top seller. Okay. But it might not be a top seller for 5 to 7 years while you are building your name and getting it out there and getting it referred and everything.
Building a community around everything you just said.
Yeah.
Although we're in a time where it's easier than ever to build a community because we're digital now, it's internet based, but still there's a certain type of work that it takes. For that as well, because there's different tiers. For instance, you and I, we have our clientele that we see one-on-one. Okay. That's one income stream. Then you have your coaching, the people that you coach. That's another income stream or another community, I'd say. And then you have your people who really just want your information, or people who find you and say, oh, wow, she's good. And then they need to listen to you for a year or two. And then, that pipeline, filling up that pipeline to say, oh, she's having an event. Oh my gosh, I'm going to attend.
Yep.
Oh, let me send this to my other therapist.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay, this takes years and years of building and showing up consistently.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just haven't had the consistency and endurance to show up enough to be building that community. Now, I think one of the things for us is 2 things that I feel like for the older generation, or, middle-aged, Gen X, whatever. I feel like marketing, we did not truly know marketing. If you took business, I feel like marketing should have been right there. Like, it should go together.
I don't think I don't, let's see, what did I learn in business school? I don't even know what I learned in business school, but I feel like, but then again, there's basic business principles I think I did learn. So, okay, but I don't feel like I really learned marketing, like
That's what I'm saying.
marketing until I was trying to build my practice and I took the different marketing coaching programs.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
That's
think
what I'm saying.
what they taught in school was not. And another thing is, because I specifically remember this, what we learned, what I learned in my undergrad about marketing is not true today because the internet has just flipped so many things on its head when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
And so like one specific lesson I learned, because I was just like, oh, I didn't know that, is that Red Lobster and Olive Garden are owned by the same people, same business. And so, but it's two different brands, very different brands, right? Because I remember when I learned that being shocked, like, oh, God, they're owned by the same people. And saying a couple of the makeup companies are owned by the same people as well. Like, I feel like one guy, man, I can't remember his name. But anyway, and he specifically opened up a different makeup so he could be his own competition and keep every people out of the market. Anyway, all that to say is, so back then they told you to keep all the brands very separate. Today, we don't do that anymore. All of the brands are usually together. So like if you go to like the Marriott website, you scroll down, you will see all of their brands listed together. And so that's a very different marketing concept. And so I think that as long as the internet keeps changing or innovation changes, I think you have to pay attention to how marketing needs to change with that.
Yeah. I think marketing was hugely missed. Now, I didn't go to school for business, so I think about all the things that I missed within it, and I had to learn along the way. I think for me personally, my customer service and my business integrity helped me just keep business, word of mouth.
Yeah.
But like you said, the internet happens and now, there's access to tons of stylists. There's access to tons of therapists and tons of whoever does what. So now, in order for you to keep people in the chair, you may have to market a little more depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen to your clientele, location, people moving, people getting older. I don't know if I ever mentioned to you, but one of my barbers, as he was aging, all his clients were going bald. He basically kind of lost his clientele.
See that happening because and it just doesn't happen in that industry.
No,
because I was y'all, one of my favorite TV shows, I don't know why, is Bar Rescue. Like I love that show.
Oh, I love that show.
Oh my God. Yeah. So this one club said all of their people essentially aged out of the club and went home. And so then they were left like not having a clientele because who they catered to went home. They got married, they settled, they got kids, they went home. And so that was one of the things he had to come in and do. And they had to figure out, okay, what's your demographic? Okay, this age group. And so now you have to work to stay hip and relevant to that age group. So you're gonna have to like change your music and incorporate it, And I thought that was just so interesting. How like dancers, covers, like they just left the club one day and went home, and it's like you do leave the club and go home at a certain age. Like, I ain't got time for this. I gotta go to work in the morning.
Things you don't, that's why I love those types of shows, because like my ex-husband had a restaurant and I was always watching oh God, who was the restaurant person? I literally tried to get his restaurant on the show. I submitted the application and everything. Oh goodness.
It's not
the millionaire guy.
The Hell's Kitchen guy. Gordon, is it Gordon Ramsay?
Not him. It was another guy who would come in and save restaurants. He was a billionaire or something. I have to find it. But anyway, girl, these restaurants would be Girl, dire needs.
Yes.
You would come in and do a whole makeover, and then the
Mhm.
people would be so stubborn. They would not want to change this and
Yes.
change that. Just ego. Well, this is our tradition, and this and this is that.
Girl, I think that's one of the things that I love about those shows is seeing how much ego can play into it and
Yeah.
have a business not move forward. Like, and it has been some that show's so funny. I love that show, but it's like, dude, like that's not making sense to you. Like, I like look, it's like cheaters. That was my show in high school.
That show was crazy to watch. It was hard to not watch it because
hard.
of
When I was in high school, I worked at Arby's. When I got off work at Arby's, I came home. My parents did have cable. My parents still don't have cable. The only show that was on that I could watch at like midnight was Cheaters. And so that was my show for a good long time. And it would just be so funny that you could catch the person red-handed walking out the hotel room, clothes all disheveled, and they'd be like, "Oh no, that wasn't me." She mean that wasn't you. Like, "Oh no, that wasn't me." It's like it would be hilarious. It's just that ego, and it's like the same thing I see in Bar Rescue. Is like that ego of like, no, we don't want to do that. That we're not gonna do that. Don't make sense. Okay, but y'all ain't making no money. But the other flip side to that is it also makes me realize, okay, this ain't rocket science. This ain't rocket science. Look at your numbers, pay attention to your numbers, listen to your people, lead well, and you can have a profitable business.
Yeah.
And we talked about some of these restaurants making what, 20, 40, 80,000 a week they were doing.
Yeah.
And the tweaks he made had to make it even more money or like immediately able to turn it around. And so when I look at that, so I look at it for the ego, but also I realize, okay, if that dude can do it, oh, okay, I know I can do that. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. If y'all haven't seen our Bar Rescue, find it. Like it's just hilarious sometimes. Like y'all doing what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can run the business. If y'all can do that, I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was I love people and movement. That's why the salon can be so cool. You just have to be very, very careful in any industry, in any business.
Yeah.
When you're a service-based business, you have to be very careful not to get stuck where you're not scaling.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is not even if you don't scale, because I know some people just kind of don't want to scale or get any bigger than they are.
Yeah.
Is paying attention to your clientele changing. And so if you notice all your clientele is losing their hair or how do I keep my pipeline rich? How do I find that clientele that's ideal for me?
Yeah.
And being able to be sensitive to the market. And we have big companies who we saw that they were not sensitive to the market and the change. Blockbuster is the one that always comes to mind because it was just so evident, and Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Redbox at the beginning. And they didn't. And then they tried to come out with their own like Blockbuster Blue Box and it didn't work because Redbox was so popular and had all of that. And so now where are they? I think it's one Blockbuster store open up in the US and they are really open for nostalgia purposes. It's more like a Blockbuster store museum.
Right, exactly.
Like, so parents can be like, we used to come to the store. We used to like leave our houses, drive to the store where they had all these movies. Pick them off the shelf, take them home, and we had to bring them back on Sunday night, Monday morning. And so that's why it's there. So anyway, be sensitive to your people. I think that's where we started at. Be sensitive to the changes of the market. Pay attention to the changes of the market. make sure you are continuing to educate yourself. Definitely. Let's see. What else do you want to say
Be
around?
open to change. Did you say that?
No, but that makes sense.
Yeah, open to change because we are in an ever-changing world, like faster than ever. Like I think the change used to be slow.
Yeah, I think
Change
so
is
too.
not slow anymore. You can wake up tomorrow, like with social media, you wake up and they change
right?
what algorithms or don't do this like that anymore. Don't do that like this.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to be involved in anything, business-wise, personal, whatever, you got to be open for change. Even, personal relationships. That's why we have you as a therapist. Like anything could change any day. So you have to be somewhat prepared for,
for change. I think because just today, so I don't know if y'all seen that new thread by Instagram that's coming up, thread.
Oh yeah.
And so the old me, the post reading 5 of Gary V's books. Actually, I probably only read 3, but nevertheless, reading Gary V. And so Gary V is like, if a new social media comes out, if a new platform comes out, you need to be on it. Don't be the last person to get on it. You need to be the first person to get on it. And if it doesn't survive, it doesn't survive, but you would have gotten practice on it. Because there's probably going to be something that comes out like that's bigger and better and greater. And if you got practice on the first one, then you'll be ready for the second one. And so even though I was like, what is this thread thing? And why does it keep coming up? Then I was like, nope, you got to change. Like you got to grow. So go on over the thread and figure it out and make sure you're pushing yourself. Another good person. I was recently listening to Louise Hay. Do you know who she is yet?
Absolutely, yes. Oh my God.
So she was like, at 76, I started taking ballroom dancing and I changed my handwriting by taking a handwriting course and I did all of these things. And I was like, but her whole thing was like to grow and to change. Like to grow and to change and respond and don't get stuck in your ways. So, all right. Anything else you want to share with the people before we let them go for the night?
No, I think it was pretty meaty. It's pretty meaty and impactful talk tonight.
So as well. I think so as well. Yeah. I think my takeaway from it is to make sure I'm continuing to push myself to grow.
Yeah.
And I think I am. And let's see, any other takeaways?
Yeah, I would say I am very in tune with the people I'm connected with. And, I love the communication. Like, it's more like a great exchange. Like I had in my first coaching program, I called it the Diamond Exchange. And I feel like that has evolved for me now. It's like, I called it the Diamond Exchange because I felt like we were exchanging diamonds because everyone had their
these just nuggets of powerful greatness.
Yeah, from their perspective, their experiences. Yeah. And I just feel like that's the space I'm in now. I'm not always trying to teach, the people that are around me, it's like we're exchanging. And that feels good.
That does. Oh, that's so brilliant.
Those people around.
It does feel really, really good. Really, really good to do that. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, great. All right. Well, I think that's it. I don't think there's anything left on for us to talk about. But we're
going to talk about the coachable coaches next week. So let's remember that.
Okay. All right.
Well, we'll figure out something else.
We will figure out something else because who knows what we'll be excited about by then.
I know. We're going to be excited about that breakthrough we talked about today.
Right. I am excited about that breakthrough. And so we probably will talk about that. So you guys can hear me talking it out loud and I can get some free coaching from Cherise. So we'll talk about that. And then what we said, coachable coaches.
Yeah, we'll bring all that together.
I'm sorry, I picked up my phone to text you to remind you and I didn't.
Okay.
I read a text message and put it down. I'm so sorry. All right. So I'll try my best to remember. and send you a text to remind you when I get finished. Okay. All right. All right. That's it, y'all. Y'all have a great night.
All right. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Jungle.